Well, good morning. My name is Jonathan Neef, campus pastor at Christ Church, Vernon Hills. Excited to do a morning devotional with you. I'm going to be pulling a personal application from the sermon. So if you've not listened to or checked out the sermon, go there for the full picture. This is just one of the takeaways I've had as I've reflected on it. So today my question is, that I've been asking myself is, will I say yes to God even if he says no to me? I'll ask you the same thing. Will you say yes to God even if he says no to you? To pull in the context from, we're in Daniel chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar has just made a giant pillar of himself and said to everybody, you got to bow down and worship it. And everyone's bowing down and worshiping except for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And Nebuchadnezzar, sorry, I forgot his name, goes to them and says, who is the God who will deliver you out of my hands? And they go on to say, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. And he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. But if not. I love those three words because what they're saying is, the God who we serve can do whatever he wants. He sets up kings, he established kingdoms, he's the ruler over all. He can save us from a burning fiery furnace. Our God is able. But if not, we will still follow him, even if we do not get what we want. And even as I reflect on my own life, I find myself, if you're to ask somebody, do you want to obey God? Do you want to follow him? Do you want to give him your life? Yes, of course. Until God doesn't give me what I want. And then it's like, no, I no longer want to follow God. I wanted this, Lord. How come I don't have that? And I don't know what that is for you in your life. You can start to imagine, maybe it's like, hey, I want this job, or I want a spouse, or I really want the money in retirement to be able to feel safe and secure, or I really want this accomplishment to feel good, or whatever the thing is, you're like, this is what I want. And I'll follow God as long as I get that. It was earlier, I was about 11, and my mom had been diagnosed with cancer and been fighting cancer, and I was happy to follow God and do those things. But when she passed away, I remember this strong moment of, well, I'm not following God anymore. I prayed for years that she would be healed of cancer, and I didn't get it. Who is this God? I don't want to follow him. And it took a while of running, and a little bit later, but my mom, when she knew she was going to pass away, wrote down cards for us for different birthdays. And one of the cards she wrote said, follow God. Even though I'm not alive anymore, he is powerful. He could have saved me. He is loving. He wants to save. And he has already done that in salvation. Don't you run from him. I remember that broke me, but it was a moment of like, okay, God, I am not my own. I belong to you. Just because I didn't get what I wanted doesn't mean that you're still not on your throne. I still need to follow and pursue you. And I was able to receive that because of the words of a mom writing a letter to her son. I feel like this scripture passage here, one of the things that God says is, follow me. God has the power to give you the things that you're after, but he might not. Will you still follow him? Will you still follow him? That's the question I want to leave with us today. And let me end with this piece. Jesus, standing before God in the Garden of Gethsemane, was praying and said, God, I do not want to die on the cross. Take this cup from me. Don't make me die. But if not, your will be done, not my will. And Jesus prayed that prayer. I think we can pray that prayer. And God said no to Jesus so that he ultimately can say yes to us and that we can have salvation and belong to him. So that's my challenge for you. It's just a reminder of like, okay, Jesus prayed that prayer. We can pray it. God said no to Jesus so that he could say yes to us. Will you say yes to God even if God says no to you? Thanks.